How to retire early part 2. Hey, my video that I put out roughly a month ago on how I retired at the age of 54 was overwhelmingly my most popular video. It's only been out about a month and it's got 2x videos that I've had out for a year. So you like that, appreciate the feedback and saying, hey Joe, it's okay to go a little rogue and go off R&M topics. And, you know, because I have been getting a lot of questions on this and I've been hesitant to put it out there, but hey, you know, give the people what they want. Hopefully this helps you. These are lessons I've learned and have applied and it's paid off for me. So I'm gonna leave a link below to that first video with levers 1 through 5. This is lever 6 through 10. This is Joe Kuhn of Lean Driven Reliability, bridging the gap between best practices that you know you should be doing, but just can't figure out how to get it done in your culture with the chaos, the drama that is your life, and you need a few pointers, need some experience coming from old Joe. Let's get started. Lever number 6, retire with a hobby where you can make money. You need to have some meaning in your life, folks. Happiness comes from having meaning. You need to find something that's fun. You need to find something that you're good at. Say, you know, the top 5% of the world. You know, you're that Olympic athlete on this topic. The world needs it. The world must need it. And it's not really work. If you love doing it, the world needs it, and it provides meaning for you. It'll dramatically lower the savings that you need, your formula, the math that you do to say, I'm ready to retire. If you can add $30,000 worth of income instead of $30,000 of money you're spending, it dramatically changes the equation. So, you know, that you can retire maybe at 55 instead of 61, 62 if you have this income, and it's fun and it's meaningful. So folks, think about considering starting this as a side hustle. I mean, something you'll do on some evenings and weekends, maybe start a YouTube channel, maybe write a book, doing some part-time consulting on this topic, but you've got to figure out what you can do in, you know, if you're 30 years old, what can you do in the next 25 years to become a subject matter expert in a certain area where you can do it as a side hustle when you decide to retire. Big deal, side hustle. Okay, lever number 7, learn to sell yourself. This is very hard, especially for professional people, engineering type people, technical people. You know, you got to learn to sell yourself and remain humble, okay? Why are you special? You know, you at a minimum, at the end of each month, you need to write a letter to the leadership, you know, whether it's your boss, whether it's the lead team, you decide. I wouldn't send it to everybody, but, you know, maybe 3 or less people. What did you accomplish that month? What were the wins? What were the losses? What were the lessons learned? What are your plans for the future? And, you know, future actions? You know, 1 page, simple to read, bullets to say, here's my report card for the month. People love that. Bosses love that. You make it easy for the boss to give you a raise, to give you a promotion. You know, you help them with their work. They're busy. They got busy lives. And, you know, help them do their job. Help them be aware of what you're doing. For you folks that are reliability engineers, incredibly important. If you and your team completely eliminate motor failures at your plant, the boss may not even recognize, you know, maybe for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Because it's hard to know the failures that didn't happen. You're so busy on the other failures and the chaos that's happening, you may not recognize the progress you're having. So you got to point it out to people. You got to learn to sell yourself and not be embarrassed with that. I'm not saying have a parade at the first of each month of everything you've done, and make sure you give credit to everybody that was involved in the team activities that you had. You know, give that credit away. But you got to learn to sell yourself. It's a big deal, folks. It leads to promotions, it leads to raises, it leads to opportunity. Lever number 8, see opportunity before others do, and then act on it. Here's an example. In R&M best practices, you hear about planning and scheduling. You hear that all the time. Train your planners, learn to schedule, learn to do this. Great things will happen. You can dramatically increase your wrench time, your efficiency of work, how many things you get completed, your OEE goes up. It's just great. But folks, what about kitting and staging? Kitting is just kind of an afterthought with planning and scheduling, but putting together a full kit on a skid with every shim, all the oils, rags, an empty galvanized bucket for small parts, gasket material, the coupling, putting everything they can possibly need on that skid. It's so easy to do and can double your wrench time, can triple your wrench time, depending on where you're starting at. And then also staging. I never hear anybody but me talking about staging. This is having somebody, the shift before the work is going to be happening, take all the parts and pieces plus equipment and staging it out the job site within 10 feet of where the work is going to be conducted. That is a huge waste of time that people go around and try to gather all these things. If you don't think it's a waste of time, go and observe at 7 o'clock in the morning at shift start and watch all the chaos that happens, and then try an experiment, a 90-day experiment with staging. You'll be shocked at what happens. That's an example of seeing opportunity. And that's one I'm proud, and I'm sure there was others that helped me brainstorm that, but that was something fundamental at my plants and what I have been consulting on. Lever number 9, be right on the risk that you take. And folks, I won't expand on this one because I got a whole video on how to be right more often than you're wrong. I teach you about a tool to use to do that, to increase your probability of being right. You have to take risks, folks. You have to take risk in your job. If you don't take risk, you're just like everybody else, okay? And I'm not saying everybody else is bad, but if you want to retire early and you want to have opportunity and financial rewards, you gotta take risks. You gotta change that culture. I got a whole video on that. I'll leave the link below. So that's a good one. Number 10, lever number 10. This was a big one. Don't discount this one. This can be your biggest lever, okay? If you are married, stay married. Okay, now there's a whole lot of other reasons to stay married. I'm not gonna go into those. But if we list all those 20 other reasons you should stay married, financial is a big one, okay? If you have a divorce, that cuts you in half. It really does. It sets you back, and you may not even be able to recover from that. You have to invest time, just like in your job, just like when in your kids, anything that's worthwhile, you have to invest time in it. So, people, if you're doubling down on being successful at work and you're working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're doing all that stuff right to be successful in your career, and you let your marriage go, you lost the game. Okay, so it is very big. So you got to balance all these things. But that's levers 6 through 10. These are all big. Were big for me and part of my success story at retiring at 54. Hey, folks, begin your journey. Reliability is in maintenance best practices, and that reliability culture that you're looking for is not complex. It's not complex to get there. Need a lot of persistence. You need a lot of confidence to make that work. If you need pointers from me, let me know. I respond to 100% of the emails and 100% of the comments that come into this channel. It's not really that complex, but it is hard, okay? It's hard, especially if you haven't done it before. So reach out to me. Love talking to you. I'm here to help. This is Joe out.